Hi everybody, so here we are at the east end of Chernarus on Chernarus, and what do we have here but a rather friendly, or not as the case may be, bear. So in this video I'm going to show you how to use my XML snippets and a territories file so you get bears spawning in urban areas as well as in the countryside, just to make things a little bit more spicy for your fresh spawns, and also for more experienced players as well, because the zombies, the infected, sometimes they can be a little bit more of a nuisance than a real threat. But you come across one of these bad boys, then you have to avoid them unless you've got an awful lot of firepower with you and a few mags to go with it. So let me just go back to my character and let's jump into admin so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So if we search for animal Ursus arctus and get item stats, what you can see is they're still spawning, and more of them, and I'll show you how to do that as well, still spawning sort of in the sort of northwest of the map where you'd expect them to spawn. But here we have there's one there in Novo. There's one near Turovo Military up northwest of Svetlojarsk. There's one sort of the north part of Berezino. And then where else we got? There we go. So we've got one down in East Chernogorsk, one in Pusta. There's one in Kozlovka. And then you've got a couple there in the west, where you would kind of expect them to be in terms of in the wilds. So there we go. That's kind of what happens. So how do you get hold of these files? Well, in the description below this video, you'll find links to my GitHub repository, and you'll also find a link to my Mega. So if one of them isn't working, you can use the t'other. And with both of them, just download the files, and the README contains all the instructions you will need in how to do this, including how to increase the events as well, so you get more bears. But I'm going to kind of show you how to do it now. So if you want all this stuff off the GitHub repository, you can click code, download zip, that'll download to your downloads folder, extract it, open it up in your favorite text editor, and you'll notice that the files we're interested in is bearterritories.xml and this text file. Because what I've done is I've added the urban graze location to a standard bearterritories.xml, and that's what we were kind of just looking at in that gameplay there, so that it's dead easy to do. So if you want to, you can just upload that over the top of the existing bearterritories.xml in the what folder is it in? I always forget what folder it's in. Let's have a look. So let's click on web interface. Let's go into our Chernarus server. Let's go into the file browser. And let's go into the missions folder. Again, this is just for Chernarus, not for Livonia, because they would be different coordinates. We're going to there. There we go. So it's the ENV folder, isn't it? So there's the ENV folder. It's got all the territories. So if you were to hit upload file and just upload the bear territories and then restart your server, you would have bears spawning as normal in the northwest, but there's a chance of them spawning in urban areas as well. The coordinates they spawn out in the urban areas are based on water pump locations, so they'll spawn near a water pump location. Sometimes they spawn inside of houses on top of them as well, which is quite funny as well when that happens. So you can do that, or if you download and open up the basic list of urban graze location file, this one. So let's edit that with Notepad++. This contains all of the urban spawn locations. Now this isn't specific to the bears, so you could use these with other animals as well, but I'm kind of doing these as separate videos because I want to give them a good testing before I upload them to GitHub and Megas. And this one definitely works, and I'm going to do another video with wolves, then we'll do the deer as well, or maybe the pigs, maybe the boar. The boar would. I'm trying to think of things that would make sense being in a town. The bears would go into a town, wouldn't they? Because they would go for all the rubbish, and they might even like eating the infected. Similarly with the wolves, the boars would as well, wouldn't they? But the deer, maybe a little bit more nervous, might stay just in the forest and things like that. But anyway, what you can do is if you take the snippet section, the basic text file, what you can then do is if you download the bear territories file from your server, and then you open it up in your text editor, and then if you just copy all of these, there we go, all the way down to the bottom to there, and then if you would go to your bear territories file, you could just make, there's a couple of ways of doing it really. You could make a bit of space and just paste them in as I have here, so you've got the urban areas and you've got the normal ones. Or one thing you could do is, you've got to leave this territories type at the top and the XML bit and the bit at the bottom. What you could do is, if you wanted to, you could select everything and you could do something like that and replace everything. So if you replaced everything like that, you would only have the urban spawns happening. So that would be quite interesting as well. What I've tend to find is that no matter what you set the events to, it tends to limit itself to about 8 bears spawning in the towns. I'm not quite sure that is, and it is different places they do spawn in, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. For me though, I would keep it like that. So I would keep the countryside spawns and I would have the urban spawns at the top like that. Now remember, once you've saved that, make sure you go over to somewhere like xmlvalidation.com and validate the file to make sure you haven't made any mistakes, and then you can upload it back to your server over the top of the existing one, restart the server, and that would happen. However, what we also want to do is to increase the number of bear spawns as well. So if we go to the DB directory on our folder, on our server, DB there, and we download the events file, or you can edit it on the browser. So download that and open that up in your favorite text editor. Right at the top, this is where we have the bear. There he is. Now, your one will say min 2, max 2, and what you can do is, if you want more bears, just increase that number there. 15 seems like a fairly good number, where you still get a few urban ones, and you get loads of bears up in the northwest. I guess I could have called this like bear infection, couldn't I, or something like that. Or if you want to, if you go into the README, if you've downloaded that as well, I've actually pasted that in there. So you could just copy and paste the event and copy and paste it over the top of your existing events.xml, save it, validate it, re-upload it over the top of the existing one on your server, and restart your server, and then you'll have the bears spawning in those locations, and it's as easy as that. As I say though, don't go too mad on the minimum and maximum. Again, what I found is, even if you just have the urban locations, and I went up to 20, you wouldn't get 20 bears in urban locations. So I think probably what's happening is, because you have things like zombies spawning in towns as well, they're probably interfering with each other. So generally events can't happen next to each other. So if there's already some zombies there, then the bears won't spawn in, and if there's already some bears there, the zombies won't spawn in. So that's why you don't get like a full, like if I put 20 in, you don't get 20 bears spawning in. You get a selection of up to 8. So there we go. Hopefully this has been useful. Hopefully it'll give your survivors a little bit of a scare. You know, you could always put it on the server without telling them. That'd be good, wouldn't it? And if you found the video useful, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. And of course, I will see you again soon.